Hey guys, my name is Anthony, and in today's quick tip video, I'm going to be talking about a topic that I know that a lot of you guys have been curious about recently. I've received a lot of questions about it personally, and I wanted to sort of just give you guys a video that you can use to really get a lot of basic information about it, and it is how to join community leagues on F1 2020. You see people like myself and Limitless race in community leagues pretty much twice a week, every single week, and I know a lot of you guys really want to get yourself involved in league racing. So I'm going to be talking about how to join leagues, how do their tiers work, what's the basic rules in most leagues, how to practice if a race is, the race day itself, and just the overall championship when it comes to leagues. So if you want to see more videos similar to this, make sure to hit the like button and stick around by subscribing to the channel if you're new, and also let me know in the comments down below what you want the next F1 2020 quick tips video to be about. So getting into the actual topic now, we're going to be first talking about how to mainly find leagues and how to mainly contact these leagues in order to join. So when it comes to finding leagues and contacting them to get yourself involved, there are a couple of different ways that you can do it, and in my opinion the best way to contact a league and really find leagues is on Twitter, by finding their Twitter page. The leagues have Twitter pages, well, most of them that I've seen have Twitter pages, and they give a lot of information about the league, about how to join the league, and just about the some of the drivers in general on those Twitter pages. So for example, the very first league that I joined, which is WOR, which is an Xbox racing league, and it stands for World Online Racing, I joined by simply finding their Twitter page, messaging them on Twitter. I actually joined mid-season in season 7, and I just asked them, you know, what does it take for me to join, and they gave me the information needed, and not long after that I was in my very first league race, I think a couple of days later after that. So they're really good in messaging you back, they're really helpful, they give you all the information that you would need. And another thing that they also do is during mid-seasons and during the beginning of a season, they have forums that you can fill out as well if you really want to give them as much information as possible straight off the bat. So for example, when it comes to actually just joining the league at the start, you'll fill out a forum with your name, your gamer tag, and then they'll often require you to do time trial laps on certain tracks. So I think for WOR this season we had to do a time trial around Silverstone, and we had to do a time trial around, I think, Brazil as well, and that basically gives the guys a good idea as to how quick you are, so that they can put you in a tier of drivers with similar pace. And in TSRL they actually one-upped WOR, so you had to do the time trial stuff, but then they also had an evaluation race, which you can actually go and see my evaluation race for TSRL if you click the link at the top right hand side of the screen. And basically we did a bunch of laps in a race setting, and then they really took the time trial times that you did and the times that you did during the race, and they really managed to dial in exactly who has similar pace so that they can all join the same tier and have competitive racing. And speaking of tiers, how do tiers work? Because at face value, tiers may seem pretty straightforward. The quicker guys are in the quicker tiers and the slower guys are in the slower tiers, but that's just at face value. When it comes to actually how tiers work, it can be a little bit confusing, because believe it or not, for example in WOR, there are people in tier 5 that are just as quick as people in tier 1, but there's a big reason as to why they're in tier 5 and not tier 1. So let's get into how tiers usually work in leagues. So when it comes to the tiers are usually decided based on 3 different attributes, and those attributes are the date and time of the tier, the skill level of the tier, and the amount of assists used in the tier. So for example in WOR, tier 1 is raced on Monday at 8 PM. The skill level, if you guys know who TRL Limitless is, basically all the drivers in tier 1 are about as quick and as skillful as him. And then the assists used in tier 1 is none. So there are no assists used in tier 1. If you're racing in tier 1, you're not allowed to use anything. And then for example in tier 3, the date and time is Tuesday at 8 p.m. The skill level is roughly around my skill level because I am in tier 3, and again the assists used are none, so anybody racing in my tier cannot use any assists. But then it gets a little bit different once you actually move into the assist based tiers. So tier 5 is actually the quickest assist based tier in WOR. They race on Tuesday at 8 p.m. as well, and the skill level, it depends because some of the guys are just as quick as the guys in tier 1, some of the guys are just as quick as the guys in tier 3. It really is a bunch of people meshed together, and the reason for that is because the only assist used in tier 5 is the racing line. So there are people who are just as quick as the people in tier 1, but they use the racing line, and that is why they are placed in tier 5. And then for example tier 8, they race on Friday at 8 p.m. They are considered the slowest tier within WOR. They're the slowest tier in terms of the assist based runners and obviously the no assist based runners as well, and they are allowed to use all assists except the pit lane assists. So if you've ever watched a driver drive in a tier other than tier 1 and you've sat down wondering to yourself, hold on a second, this driver is just as quick as some of the other drivers in tier 1, how comes they don't race in tier 1? Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. Maybe the driver's using the racing line, so they're placed in tier 5, which is the quickest assist based tier, or simply put, the driver just may be not able to race on the scheduled time that the tier 1 has been scheduled for. So maybe the person can't drive on Mondays at 8 p.m, so they have to go into a different tier because that's the only day that they can actually drive. So it really just depends on, you know, the amount of assists that you use, or simply put, whether or not you can actually race on that day and time. So moving on to some of the more basic rules when it comes to most F1 community leagues. When it comes to the on-track rules, a lot of them are pretty similar to the real life F1. So for example, if the league is using full qualifying format, whatever tire that you do the fastest lap on in Q2 is the race tire that you will be starting on, and in dry conditions, for example, you have to use at least 2 different compounds of tires. Just really small stuff like that. It's pretty much just like it is in real life, but then you have some obviously basic rules, basic community rules that obviously you wouldn't have in real life. For example, when it comes to being in the lobby, you're not supposed to invite any unauthorized person, so anybody who's not supposed to be in that tier other than the actual drivers, streamers and commentators, obviously they can't be invited. And another example is you being responsible for your own conduct within the tier. So if you're having a problem with another driver in the tier, instead of having, you know, a drama-filled argument all over Twitter, privately message them and deal with it in a private setting. If you can't deal with it in a private setting, then contact your tier coordinator and basically let them handle it, instead of, you know, really being immature over Twitter or over Instagram or whatever it is that you guys are arguing over. And then moving on to practicing for the race now, I'm not really going to say much on this subject because I've already gotten a full video where I talked about how to practice for races, so make sure to click the link at the top right hand side of the screen or in the description below if you want to know how to practice for league races. So when it comes to the actual race day itself now, lobbies usually open up around about 20 to 15 minutes before the scheduled time. There are some delays depending on whether people can actually connect to the lobby or not, especially on F1 2020 when there's been a lot of connection issues. And also, most leagues do broadcast their tiers on streaming platforms such as Twitch, and in AOR and ORL's case, they stream on YouTube as well. So if you're nervous about appearing on, you know, YouTube or Twitch, it just comes with the tier. You're gonna have people commentating over your racing and stuff like that. It's just how it happens, really. You will feel nervous before the race, but make sure to try and take those nerves and turn it into a good result, because at the end of the day, you are racing just for fun. And lastly, just good luck to you. You know, obviously you might have practice, you might have not. There's a lot of luck involved when it comes to the actual race day. Some people who are usually up towards the front, they might end up getting into a collision and have to retire, which gives you a couple of positions that you usually wouldn't get and stuff like that. So it does involve a lot of luck, but it does involve a lot of skill as well. And then the last thing we're going to touch on is the championships. Now, most community leagues are run for fun and don't offer any sort of monetary prize for winning the championship. However, there are some that probably do. I'm pretty sure on F1 2019, I can't remember the YouTuber that I was watching, but he was doing a Dutch league, and I think Jarno Opmeer was a part of it as well. And there was a prize pool for winning that league. I can't remember how much it was. I don't know if it was like a 10,000 or 1,000 or something like that, but there are some leagues that do offer that. For example, WOR, they don't offer a monetary prize, but I'm pretty sure they send out a small trophy with the champion's name on it after each season is completed for each tier. So just remember that you are racing for pride, you're racing to improve your skills, and you're also racing, more importantly, for fun when it comes to these community leagues. They're not pro leagues similar to the esports that are currently going on right now. It's mainly just for fun. So obviously you can take it seriously, but try not to take it too seriously. So that's going to be it for today's video. It was a bit more of a long one, but at the same time, this was pretty much as quick as I could explain some of these stuff when it comes to how the community leagues work on F1 2020. So again, if you want to see more videos similar to this, make sure to hit the like button, stick around by subscribing to the channel if you're new, and make sure to comment down below on a topic that you want me to cover in the next video like this. And I'll see you guys in my next video.